Okay, our next abbreviated series exercise is entitled Triplet Diddle Grid. If you look at the music, the triplet diddle grid that I'm using is pretty much the same as you've seen everywhere on the internet, except for the last line, which is the third line. I've done it a little bit different, written it a little different, but nothing way out there or anything. So basically we're putting 2 counts of triplets, 2 counts of a diddle pattern, if that makes sense. So we're actually putting the diddle on 1, diddle on 2, diddle on 3, diddle on 1 and 2, diddle on 2 and 3, diddle on 1 and 3, then we're going to do diddles all on the right, diddles all on the left, and all diddles, which is a triplet roll. Okay, so we're filling up the partials, all of the available partials. We're putting the diddle on 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, 1, 3, and 5, 2, 4, and 6, and then all 3, if that makes sense. So look at the music. Everything is played at one height. Don't do what the young players do, which is this. They accent the diddles. Don't accent the diddles. Why not? Because it's not written that way. There may be some diddles in your show or in exercises that are accented, but on this we're trying to preserve the interpretation of the diddles. All right. For young players, that's not going to work. If you start accenting the diddles, we're going to crush the diddles, and then the interpretation goes out the window. All right. There needs to be daylight between the diddles. Back in the 70s, we would interpret the second measure like this. We would slur it. That's just the way it was. You slur the diddles. Well, around maybe 1980-ish forward, we started interpreting the diddles more like, okay? So, hopefully that makes sense. If you've got more than one snare drummer, you could have one snare drummer play triplets while the other snare drummer plays, let's say, the second diddle pattern. And the notes should line up, and the notes won't jump out at you. It won't sound dirty. So, if you've ever done that, that makes sense. If you've got a line of 11 snares, which I marched in a line of 11 snares, we would have maybe 6 guys play this, while the other 5 would play. And everything should line up. Now, the diddles do jump out, but they don't jump out from an interpretation standpoint. They're lined up perfectly. It's called correct interpretation. All right, so that's what we're looking for, correct interpretation. Your hands are still moving in the triplet fashion, the triplet rhythm, and not distorting the spacing of the diddle, if that makes sense. Okay, that being said, this triplet diddle grid I've written in groups of 2. So we're playing 2 groups of triplets, 2 groups of the pattern. All right, so I would suggest learning the first line first. So do this. So here's the first line. All right, do that again. First line. All right, there's triplets running through that. All right, once you've got that clean, go to the second line. Now, the first 2 are pretty easy, but the third one is where people normally have issues, but you just practice it slowly. So here's the second line. Again. Notice how on the second one I'm not going. All right, I'm not slurring the diddles. There's still daylight right there. So don't start the diddle until the actual triplet is supposed to hit the playing surface. All right? And then the third line will simply be this. Third line again. Alright, so young players are going to do this. They're going to go, they see that diddle and they go, oh, it's all on the right hand, so I'm going to do this. Don't do that. It distorts the rhythm. Keep it nice and level, consistent. Now the second one in this line should not sound like, alright, that's called slurring. Don't slur it. You can't clean a slur. Now the bridgeman could back in the 70s, but unless you drum that style every day, the correct interpretation is the only way to clean a drum line. All right, nowadays. So do that, because we have our old friend Dr. Beat here. So everything is, all right. So let's play this thing all the way through. Let's go ahead and increase the tempo to 120. All right, here we go. Triplet diddle grid. One more time. So that's triplet diddle grid. Hopefully I didn't go off on a tangent too much, but this is an issue when I work with high school students, some middle school students who are playing this type of figure, whereas if they're taking private lessons, or if I'm working with a drum line in group sessions, this is where most of the dirt occurs, in diddle patterns. All right. Normally you can get 16ths pretty clean, some triplet patterns clean, accent tap, 16th note timing, double beats. When you start to roll, putting 2 strokes per hand, it just gets complicated sometimes. But it doesn't have to be. All right, everything can be nice and clean. All right, so practice this slowly. Get the basics down, get your fundamentals down, increase the speed, and you'll be able to play these nice and clean with your friends. So, until next time, practice a triplet diddle grid. This is a very important exercise. Stay tuned. Keep on drumming.